Don't you just love it when 8:30 rolls around and all of your children are asleep and everything is quiet and you can sit and relax? Yeah, just kidding. That's not what it looks like at night in my house. I like to wake up to a clean house, which means getting my butt in gear and doing something about this leftover from lunch and dinner. I usually start off my morning by emptying out the dishwasher so that way I can load it up throughout the day. But we actually had friends over for dinner last night, which meant that our dishes were doubled, actually more than doubled because they have four children. So once I got everything unloaded, I felt like I actually had a clean slate to start. Watching this whole video back and reliving my entire night, I realized that I did a lot of cleaning and re-cleaning my kitchen, but it makes me happy. I like a clean kitchen, so that's what I did. I started by getting all of the dishes done and out of the way. Now, my 4-year-old is the only one that is actually somewhat helpful when it comes to this task. So during the day, when I'm unloading them in the morning, I will often ask him to help me, and he will usually put away whatever he can reach with his step stool and whatever he knows where it belongs. And then he'll leave the few things in the dishwasher for me to put away. The downside of having him help me with it is that he's four. So, I mean, anyone here that has a 4-year-old can probably relate to the fact that I have a lot of broken dishes when he's trying to help, but it's all a learning experience. It's great. It's fine. That's what I tell myself as I'm sweeping up broken things on the floor. I obviously needed some late night motivation, so I got myself some potatoes and loaded them up with cheese, and that was my 10 o'clock snack, dinner, whatever meal you want to call it. And before I hear, why doesn't your husband help you with all of this whenever your children go to bed? Let me just say, my husband works very hard all day long and is a very busy man. And then when he comes home, he has night classes that he has to do and has been doing for much longer than anyone would like to admit. So my husband is extremely helpful. On the nights that he doesn't have school classes that he has to do, he steps right in and helps, does dishes and sweeps up the floor and everything in between. My husband should really win an award for best diaper sprayer because we cloth diaper all three of our children, and well, we used to cloth diaper all three of our children. We currently only cloth diaper one and a half ish, but all of the diapers that need sprayed get sat off to the side, and my husband gets to spray them all on wash day, which is his absolute favorite thing to do. I say sarcastically. And the funny part is that I used to spray the diapers on child one, and then with each pregnancy, the smell of them would get to me more. So then my husband just started having to take on more diapers. And the next thing you know it, he's spraying all of the diapers all of the time. Don't you just love it when things work out like that? Hopefully, he's not listening to this because he's going to stop spraying the diapers and make me start doing more of them. Totally kidding. He would not do that. But once I got the kitchen all cleaned up, it was onto the floors. A lot of times at night, whenever I'm cleaning up the kitchen, I won't focus too much on what the floors look like because I'm dusting things off of the counter onto the floors a lot of the time because I know I'm going to end up vacuuming the floors later in the night anyway. So we just moved into this house recently, and I guess recently is kind of a broad term. Recently to me is less than 2 years ago, to put a time frame on it. And the kitchen in this house is much smaller than in our last house. And there are pros and cons to that. One of the pros being that it takes a lot less time to clean all of it, and you get highly motivated to do the dishes when you have no counter space to make more food. But definite cons to that are just lack of space in general to cook things. But it's all right. We make it work, and we still manage to fit many people in our kitchen to socialize at the same time. Now we've moved on to those floors that I was talking about. I have three children that are under the age of 5 in my house, And that means that I have three children that are not very good at getting all of their food from their plate into their mouth. I 10 out of 10 recommend a dog if you have little children because it makes cleanup a whole lot easier. Our sweet little pup passed away at the end of December, and I am just now realizing how much of the cleanup he used to do for me. But after I've moved on with the floors, it's obviously time to get our kitchen messy again. So I'm gonna get started on some blueberry muffins. Now, I was joking to my husband the other day that I don't think I've ever made just a single dozen of anything since having children because it just seems silly and like a waste of time to me. I end up making multiple dozen. Like these, I needed to take to my mom's group in the morning. So I obviously made the dozen that I needed to take to mom's group and a dozen for my children for breakfast because that just kills two birds with one stone. And this would not be a typical homemaking nighttime routine if I didn't have a baby that woke up ready to nurse. So I went, nursed the baby, and jumped right back into it. To be completely honest, this whole evening has been like a Chronicles of a Night Owl sort of situation. There are many people who wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, even 4 o'clock in the morning. If I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's because I'm feeding a baby and going back to sleep. But my point being, there are people that wake up that early in the morning to get things done before their children wake up, and I am not that person. I am the person that would much rather stay up until way past anyone's bedtime and do a bunch of things around the house. And obviously, since I already had out the flour for the muffins, making gluten free sourdough bread seemed like the obvious next step to do for the evening. So here you see me prepping some sourdough bread to sit for the evening. I'm coming up on being married for about 6 years now. And there's a couple things that I have learned over those years. Actually, many things that I've learned over those years. But one of those things is that I can't do everything all at once. So even if doing all of this seems overwhelming to you at night, just keep in mind that I did not start making muffins and making sourdough bread and making sure my house was pristine all at the same time. I chose one thing to focus on and I did it, and that was it. So, if all I could do and if all you can do is get your house clean, then that's enough. And some nights, honestly, that's even too much for me. However, if you can get your house clean for the night and you feel like you're seeking something else to do to deepen your relationship with your home, your family, and your life as a homemaker, then try picking up one extra thing to do at a time. So, if that means that you are prepping your blueberry muffins and making them the night before so that you have an easy breakfast, or if that means that you are picking up making sourdough bread, just choose one thing and start there. These muffins turned out wonderful. We can ignore the dirty pans that they are still sitting on. And like I mentioned before in the video, I obviously cleaned my kitchen so that I could clean it 10 more times throughout the rest of the night. Now, here's another one of those it's hard to do everything, but you can always pick one thing. And another thing that I try to add onto my to do list recently has been to reach out and do things for the people that I love. So sometimes it means taking them little care packages to surprise them. Today I was making a sugar face scrub for a friend at my mom's group tomorrow, but I've been trying to make a conscious effort to tell the people that I care about or show the people that I care about that they are important to me. And simple little things like this really go a long way. Obviously, since the muffins were done, I was going to try one at one point, but I first wanted to try to plate them so that they were going to be ready for the morning. And at this point, I realized that putting the hot muffins onto a plate was not going to do anything except for make the bottoms very soggy. So instead, I wised up and put them onto a cooling rack next to the plate so that I could put them on the plate in the morning. At this point, it was really starting to get late, and I had decided to call it a quits. This was the last thing that I was doing. I will clean out the muffin tins in the morning because I am not cleaning the kitchen for the third time. I obviously grabbed myself a plate of muffins to try before I went to bed because it's not really fair to not test them to make sure that they were okay for everyone, and called it a quits for the night. So we will see you next time.